Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking into something a bit different, a personal story, really. It's from Thailand.
That's right. A listener sent us this audio clip from a Thai podcast called The Shock.
The shock, yeah. And the specific bit is Ansem Panel
Which translates roughly to story, #3, Ghost Valley Farm, Coon Man 9 Lives. Coon Man or Phi Man, Brother Man.
Right, Pie Man. And these kinds of first-hand accounts, they can be incredibly gripping, can't they? They show how, different cultures...
Definitely. So our aim here really is to just pull out the main story, the chilling bits that Phi Man talks about.
He recounts two specific encounters, right, down in southern Thailand.
Yeah, about 30 years ago, he says. And what makes it powerful is just how personal it feels. It's like you're right there with his fear, his interpretation of it all.
Exactly. And the original source, it's audio, right? It's Phi Man talking to the host, Phi Pong.
Pradla Pong, yeah. It's very conversational, very direct. He's just sharing what happened. Makes it feel really immediate.
Okay, so let's dive into that first one. Phi Man's trip south just after finishing his vocational certificate.
Yeah, the Paw Sa Chaw, they call it. A lower vocational certificate. So he's young, just out of school, basically.
And he goes down to visit a friend.
In Klong Hoi Kong, which is near Hat Yai, southern Thailand.
Okay. And this friend, he taps rubber trees.
Yeah, a rubber tapper. And one night, he asks Phi Man if he wants to come along while he works. Tapping rubber is often done at night or very early morning.
Even getting there sounds kind of creepy. He mentioned passing a shrine.
A shrine with lots of bone urns, cremation urns, basically, before they even got into the dark part of the plantation.
Sets a mood, doesn't it? Okay, so they went to the plantation. It's dark.
Really dark. The friend's got a headlamp, leading the way, cutting through the black, and then he just disappears.
Vanishes, like gone.
Gone. 1 second, the light's bobbing ahead. The next, nothing. Just darkness.
Man, imagine that feeling. Alone, suddenly. But that wasn't even the worst part, was it?
No. That came when Phi Man turned around, alone in the pitch black.
Wow.
He sees this figure standing right behind him. He said it was really close.
What kind of figure?
Headless and covered in mud.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's nightmare fuel right there. Headless and muddy.
Yeah, I mean, that image, right? The lack of identity, the violence implied, it hits a deep fear.
So what did he do? Just froze?
No, he bolted. Pure instinct, I guess. Ran blindly, terrified.
Didn't he, run into something?
Yeah, crashed right into a small shelter or hut, knocked his own headlamp off, too.
Oh, man. So back into total darkness.
Exactly. And even then, while scrambling away, he said he saw shapes, shadowy figures lurking near some kind of bone storage area he mentioned.
Bone storage? Like more urns.
Could be. Or maybe something else. Has another layer of just unease.
He eventually got back to the friend's house.
Yeah. Completely freaked out, obviously. Yeah. Told the friend's wife what he'd seen. You can just picture him, breathless, trying to explain this horror.
Was there ever any, explanation for it, what the friend said?
Well, later, yeah. The story that came out was that the headless figure was probably the ghost, the spirit of a Burmese worker.
Murdered.
Yeah, murdered.
Yeah.
From a plantation nearby. So a restless, likely angry spirit.
What an introduction to the South. Chilling. Just absolutely chilling.
You'd think that'd be enough, right? One encounter like that.
Yeah, I'd be on the first bus back to Bangkok. But no, there's more. This second story, the Ghost Valley Farm, that's the main one, isn't it?
It is. So sometime after the rubber plantation thing, Phi Man gets this job offer. Caretaker at a big livestock farm.
Cattle and goats.
Cattle and goats, yeah.
Yeah.
Owned by someone influential, apparently. But the key thing is, this farm was isolated. Really isolated.
How far out?
About 14 kilometers from the nearest village. It's spread over 3 hills, surrounded by forest, more rubber plantations, no neighbors. Just out there.
That isolation alone can mess with your head, even without ghosts.
Absolutely. It definitely primes you for feeling vulnerable, makes anything unusual feel 10 times scarier.
So what was his job like initially?
Pretty standard farm stuff, sounds like. Let the animals out to graze, look after some prize-fighting bulls the owner had, general upkeep.
Seemed normal enough at first, then.
For a very short time. But the weirdness started almost right away. The very first night, actually.
What happened?
Late at night, pitch black again, he hears this loud Thai classical music, like a full orchestra.
Out there, in the middle of nowhere.
Exactly. Seemed to be coming from a nearby hill. He used the southern Thai word kwan for a small hill or rise.
Where would it come from? There's no one around.
Right. That's the unsettling part. A full traditional Thai orchestra playing in the dead of night on an empty hill. It's just wrong.
Definitely sets your teeth on edge. Okay, so that was night 1. Did it continue?
Oh, yeah. It escalated. Night 2 got even worse, more direct. Around 9 p.m., he said, the cattle started acting up. Really agitated, moving like crazy, restless.
Animals often sense things, they say.
Well, maybe they did, because then Phi Man saw something. Figures, dressed in traditional Thai clothing.
Where?
Sitting up in a big Bodhi tree, there was a path leading into a valley on the farm property, and this tree was near the path.
Figures in a tree. Okay, that's creepy enough.
But then it got personal. He heard footsteps, clear as day, and then a voice.
Calling him.
Calling his name in Thai, basically saying, man, come out and talk.
Oh, no. That's direct interaction. That changes things. It's not just weird sounds anymore.
Exactly. It feels targeted. Who or what is calling his name out there? It moves past general spookiness into something intentional, maybe menacing.
And things kept escalating from there, didn't they? It wasn't just sights and sounds anymore.
No, it became more tangible. A young cow went missing.
Okay, so now there's a practical problem on top of the supernatural stuff.
Right. And Phi Man, feeling responsible perhaps, or maybe just needing to do something, decides he has to go find it, even though it's dark again.
So he goes out looking for it into that valley where he saw the figures in the tree.
Into the valley, yeah. He took precautions, though. He grabbed a shotgun and a flashlight, which tells you how scared he already was.
Good call on the shotgun, maybe? So what happened when he went into the valley?
This is where it gets really strange, almost reality bending. He said the path, which he knew, just changed.
Changed how?
It became dense forest, unfamiliar. He got completely disoriented, lost. Like the landscape itself was messing with him.
That feeling of being lost in a familiar place is terrifying. Like your senses are betraying you.
And then he saw them again, the figures.
The ones from the tree.
Worse. He said multiple headless figures surrounding him in the dark.
Headless again. Like the first encounter, but more of them.
Exactly. Echoes of the first experience, but amplified. Utterly surrounded.
What did he do? Did he use the shotgun?
No, he seems to have just pleaded. Spoke out loud to whatever was there, begged them to let him go, said he was just looking for the cow. You know, a desperate appeal to unseen forces.
A primal fear response, really. Just trying to reason with the unreasonable.
Yeah. And then something else happened. Something shifted.
Where did that figure?
A different one. An old man appeared.
An old man. Out there.
Dressed traditionally.
Yeah.
Sarong, a white cloth over his chest, carrying a cane. Just suddenly there.
Was he threatening?
Apparently not. He just gestured towards the headless figures.
Yeah.
And they vanished. Just like that. Gone.
Whoa. So this old man made the headless ghosts disappear.
That's how Phi Man described it. The old man didn't say anything, just gestured.
Then what? Did the old man talk to him?
No. Silent. He just started walking, leading Phi Man back out of the dense woods towards the farm's main clearing.
Must have been the eeriest walk ever, following this silent, traditional figure who just banished ghosts.
I can only imagine. But it wasn't quite over.
What happened when they got back to the clearing?
The old man just disappeared.
Yeah.
Suddenly he appeared. Poof. Gone.
Vanished too.
Yeah. And then Phi Man heard that voice again. Disembodied.
The one that called his name before.
Seemed like it. It just told him, leave. Leave the farm.
Okay, so he's back, presumably terrified. The old man's gone. The voice told him to leave. What next?
Well, eventually the farm owner's younger brother, a guy named Feast Pho Wayne, showed up with some other men. They found Phi Man there, obviously completely shaken.
Did he tell them what happened?
He must have recounted it because they then gave him the local context, the explanation, if you can call it that.
Which was?
They basically confirmed his fear. They told him that valley.
Yeah.
It has a history, a long reputation for, well, paranormal stuff, strange occurrences.
So it wasn't just him. The place itself was known.
Exactly. And they introduced this local legend about a powerful spirit they call Pho Yai.
Pho Yai, what does that mean?
It translates to grandfather, like a powerful, respected elder spirit. They believe Pho Yai protected the whole area, the farm included.
So who was missing with Phi Man then, if Pho Yai is a protector?
Their theory was that the things he saw, the headless figures, the voice calling him, those were probably malevolent forest spirits trying to lure him away, maybe harm him.
And the old man who banished the figures, was that Pho Yai?
That seems to be the implication.
Yeah.
that Fo Yai, the guardian spirit, intervened to save him from the other spirits. It fits with a lot of animistic beliefs in Southeast Asia, guardian spirits protecting specific places.
That's fascinating. A whole local cosmology explaining these events.
Right, and they added more details, mentioned a specific cave on the third hill of the farm.
What about the cave?
Locals believed it held ancient artifacts, strange things, and get this, a giant cobra.
A giant cobra, like a real one.
Well, according to the lore, yes. A massive snake, also seen as a kind of protector or spirit of the place. The whole area was considered sacred, powerful, maybe dangerous if not respected.
So the farm wasn't just isolated, it was on spiritually charged ground, according to the locals.
Pretty much. And Fai Wine told him another story, too, to back it up. About the farm owner's own nephew.
What happened to him?
Got lost in that same valley, disappeared for several days, experienced similar weird, disorienting stuff.
How did they find him?
They had to perform a ritual. Involved offering a goat, apparently, to appease the spirits, or Fo Yai. Only then was the nephew found.
Wow, so Feynman's experience wasn't unique, it fit a known pattern for that place.
Exactly. It suggests this wasn't just a one-off hallucination or something. There was a history, a local understanding of the valley being tricky.
So, after all that, surely Feynman left then. He got the warning, the confirmation.
You'd think so.
Huh.
But incredibly, he stayed on for a little while longer. Not long, though.
Why stay after that?
Hard to say. Maybe stubbornness. Maybe he needed the job. But he didn't last. Less than 2 weeks in total, he said.
Did the weird stuff continue?
Yeah, subtler things maybe, but still unsettling, like finding dead chickens every day. Not killed by predators, but apparently from fighting each other violently. Just added to the strangeness.
Okay, that's just bizarre. Chickens fighting to the death daily.
Yeah. And then came his final night.
What happened on the last night?
Sounds like he completely lost it, understandably. He was so scared, he burned old tires outside his hut just to have more light, trying to keep the darkness back.
Desperate measures. Did it help?
Apparently not. He still heard his name being called. And then the hut itself started shaking.
Physically shaking.
That's what he said. He completely panicked, grabbed the shotgun again, and just started firing shots into the walls of the hut.
Oh, man. Just blind terror.
Yeah. After that, he'd say he basically just drank himself into oblivion and passed out. Woke up the next morning and knew he had to get out.
I don't blame him, so he finally left.
He left. And the kicker, when he met up with his original friend, the rubber tapper,
Yeah.
the friend finally admitted it. Oh yeah, that farm's haunted. Everybody knows about it.
You're kidding. The friend knew all along and didn't warn him.
Seems like it. Maybe didn't want to scare him off the job initially. Who knows? But yeah, Fedem basically walked right into a known haunted location, completely unprepared.
Unbelievable. What a pair of stories. So, thinking about both encounters.
What really jumps out is, well, the vividness, isn't it? The sudden headless figure in the dark plantation. The pervasive, creepy, classical music on the isolated farm.
Yeah, and the figures in the tree, the voice calling his name, that directness is chilling.
And the valley experience.
Mhm.
The landscape changing, the disorientation, being surrounded by multiple headless figures again. It's like a nightmare made real.
Plus the intervention of the old man, Fo Yai perhaps. It really grounds it in that specific cultural context.
Definitely. It highlights how strong those beliefs in spirits, local legends, guardian figures are in southern Thailand, or were, especially 30 years ago.
And how those beliefs provide a framework for understanding, or at least interpreting, these terrifying experiences. It's not just random chaos. There are spirits, rules, protectors, malevolent forces.
Right. The interpretation is shaped by the culture. Which brings up a point for you listening, doesn't it?
Yeah, think about that vulnerability. Being alone, somewhere remote, unfamiliar. Especially a place with its own dark reputation, its own folklore.
And how much power those stories, those belief systems actually have. Do they just shape how we explain weird things, or can they actually influence what we perceive?
That's the aha moment, maybe. Looking at these intense stories like Feynman's, how much is purely external supernatural if you believe that?
And how much might be amplified or even triggered by psychology? The stress, the isolation, the fear, combined with the power of suggestion from local beliefs, or maybe environmental factors we don't even consider.
It's impossible to untangle definitively, isn't it? Which is what makes these stories so compelling and maybe a little unsettling.
Leaves you wondering about the edges of our reality, what might be out there beyond our normal senses.
So here's something to chew on. If you were Feynman, out there in the dark, seeing those things, hearing those voices, what would you do?
What instincts kick in? What beliefs, if any, would you fall back on? Do you run? Do you plead? Do you try to fight?
Feeman's journey gives us this really vivid look into a world where that line between seen and unseen just feels incredibly thin. Makes you ponder the mysteries, doesn't it?
It really does.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.